Aya Wilson isn't just frustrated. She's actively undermining the league's biggest opportunity for growth. Her bitter reaction to Caitlin Clark's soaring valuation and influence highlights a dangerous mindset. That veteran status should dictate spotlight and earnings, regardless of results. But fans aren't buying in a legacy anymore. They're buying into excitement. Wilson's refusal to embrace the cultural wave Clark created only deepens the rift between the league's fading old guard and the momentum that could actually sustain it.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
What looks like pride is really insecurity, and it's alienating the very audience the league desperately needs. The irony is brutal. Wilson, once positioned as the WNBA's cornerstone, now represents the rigidity holding it back. Her insistence on legacy over leverage ignores how today's sports economy works. It rewards relevance, reach, and resonance. Clark is all three. Meanwhile, Wilson's complaints feel less like leadership and more like ego. If the league wants to survive, it needs to pivot toward what moves fans, sponsors, and culture. And if players like Wilson can't accept that shift, they risk dragging the league down with them. The news of Caitlin Clark's massive $50 million offer didn't just break the internet. It broke something inside the WNBA. The reactions said it all. While fans were celebrating what looked like the biggest leap forward for women's basketball in decades, Aya Wilson was busy doing what she does best lately, complaining. And her frustration didn't just make her look petty. It revealed the cracks in a league that Clark's rise has made impossible to ignore. Caitlin Clark isn't just another athlete cashing in. She's the one player who's managed to turn women's basketball from a niche product into a global brand. She's the reason arenas are full, the reason ratings are climbing, and the reason international sponsors are even paying attention. She's made the sport bigger than it's ever been. Her games don't just trend, they dominate. Her appeal isn't limited to one demographic. She's reached audiences the WNBA could never touch before. And that's exactly what drives Aya Wilson crazy. Because for years, Wilson has been the so-called face of the WNBA. She's a multi-time MVP, a proven champion, and a leader of the Las Vegas Aces dynasty. But no matter how much she wins, she's never been able to do what Clark did in a single rookie season. Make the entire world care. That's the part Wilson can't accept. Her frustration is written all over her recent behavior. Publicly dismissive, passive-aggressive online, visibly irritated in interviews. Wilson has made it clear she's not happy about being overshadowed. But instead of taking a moment to self-reflect or adapt, she's turned her resentment outward. Clark's global success has become her scapegoat, when really, the problem lies in how the league and its longtime stars failed to evolve. For years, the WNBA had the talent, but no plan. They had incredible players, but no marketing power, no real storytelling, no strategy to connect with fans. The product was good, but no one knew how to sell it. And then Caitlin Clark arrived. She didn't just change the marketing game. She became the marketing. The demand was instant and organic. She didn't have to chase attention. It chased her. Wilson, on the other hand, has been pushed by the league for years, yet the numbers never match the narrative. No matter how many MVPs she collected or how many championships she added, the audience just wasn't expanding. And that's not about talent. It's about connection. Clark resonates. She's authentic. She's transparent. She plays with fire and doesn't try to be something she's not. Fans love that. Sponsors love that. Networks love that. Wilson's frustration, though, shows that she doesn't understand it, or worse, refuses to. Her so-called tantrum over Clark's deal isn't about fairness. It's about ego. She can't handle the fact that someone younger, newer, and undeniably more marketable has eclipsed her entirely. But here's the thing. That's not Clark's fault. That's how sports work. Every generation gets someone who redefines the landscape. Every league gets one star who forces the system to change. Instead of embracing that, Wilson's choosing bitterness over evolution. She's acting like a veteran who can't stand seeing someone else get the attention she once thought she was entitled to. The $50 million offer, allegedly coming from the Saudi League, was the clearest possible reminder that the market values impact over everything else. It's not about how many rings you have. It's not about how long you've been around. It's about who moves the needle, who sells the tickets, who gets people to tune in. And that person is Caitlin Clark. The fact that international leagues are valuing Clark at 10 times Wilson's worth isn't an insult. It's reality. It's economics. It's what happens when one player's influence reaches far beyond the game itself. Wilson could have looked at that and seen an opportunity. Instead, she saw competition. And that's why her reaction hit so poorly with fans. Instead of celebrating progress, she turned it into a personal feud. Instead of seeing how Clark's success lifts everyone, she took it as an attack on her legacy. That's not leadership. That's insecurity. Wilson's been in the spotlight long enough to know how perception works. And yet, every time Clark's name comes up, her tone shifts from confident to defensive. Her interviews drip with tension. Her words carry the kind of bitterness that fans can feel. And people are starting to turn on her because of it. The WNBA doesn't need more resentment. It needs growth. It needs unity. But right now, the league looks divided, and Wilson is at the center of that divide. She's feeding into the exact narrative that's holding the sport back, that there's not enough room for everyone to shine. Clark's rise doesn't erase Wilson's legacy, but Wilson's behavior does threaten her reputation. The more she leans into the victim act, the less sympathy she gets. Because the truth is, fans don't owe her attention. She has to earn it. And if she's not willing to adapt to the new era, an era built on personality, marketability, and authenticity, she's going to get left behind. And it's not just Wilson. The WNBA as a whole has failed to adapt. The league's leadership has mishandled star promotion for years. They've delayed endorsements, botched shoe launches, and refused to take advantage of their best assets. Their inconsistent branding and favoritism have alienated fans and fractured the community. And now that Clark has forced them into the spotlight, their internal dysfunction is impossible to hide. You can see it in the attendance numbers. You can see it in the half-empty arenas when Clark's not playing. You can see it in the ratings that fall apart the moment she's off the court. The WNBA tried to project a narrative of unstoppable growth, but that illusion is fading fast. And instead of addressing it, the players are fighting each other. Wilson's tantrum over Clark's deal is a symptom of that insecurity. It's not just her jealousy. It's the league's identity crisis spilling into public view. They can't decide whether to protect their veterans or embrace the future. And in trying to do both, they're losing control of both. Caitlin Clark didn't ask for this tension. She just played her game and built a brand. But now she's the lightning rod for all of the league's unresolved issues. And Wilson's reaction has only made it worse. Fans are seeing it for what it is, a refusal to evolve. The WNBA is at a turning point. Either they embrace the player who's finally made people care, or they let jealousy and outdated politics drag the league back into mediocrity. Because make no mistake, if Clark walks away from this mess, the league will collapse under the weight of its own ego. Wilson's anger doesn't make her a victim. It makes her look out of touch. She's mad at the one player keeping her league relevant. And if she can't see that, then she's part of the problem, not the solution. Caitlin Clark's $50 million deal isn't just about money. It's about power. It's about who moves culture, who changes the game, who builds the bridge to the future. Clark did in 1 year what Wilson couldn't do in 6. She made women's basketball matter. And instead of fighting it, Wilson should have been thanking her. Because whether she likes it or not, Clark is the reason anyone's watching at all. If you're watching this and you're tired of the drama, tired of the jealousy, and want to see women's sports thrive, hit that like button, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more breakdowns. Do you think Aya Wilson's jealousy is killing the league's momentum? Or can the WNBA fix its culture before it's too late? One thing's certain, Caitlin Clark isn't just changing the game. She is the game now, and the rest of the league better catch up. Because here's the thing that nobody in the WNBA wants to say out loud. Caitlin Clark isn't just the most talked about player in women's basketball right now. She's the only reason the casual sports world is even paying attention to the league at all. That's not hyperbole. That's the cold reality that Aya Wilson, her peers, and league leadership are refusing to acknowledge. When Clark's $50 million deal was floated, it should have been the biggest celebration in the league's history. A sign that women's basketball had finally broken through into the economic stratosphere. That someone from this league, in this moment, had global value. But instead of leading the applause, Aya Wilson fumbled the moment. Again, her response was defensive, territorial, and bitter. The undertone was loud and clear. Why her and not me? But here's the truth. The answer is obvious. Clark has captivated not just die-hard basketball fans, but everyone, from young kids to international audiences to brands with real money. Her pull goes beyond stats. It's reach. It's engagement. It's brand awareness. It's marketability. Something Wilson, despite all of her accolades and undeniable talent, hasn't been able to command. And that's not a knock on Wilson's game. It's a reflection of where the WNBA has gone wrong. For years, the league built its marketing strategy around hard work, loyalty, and team-first culture. All noble values, but not the kind that grow a fan base. People don't buy tickets to watch humility. They buy tickets to watch stars. And Clark, from day one, has been a star. Her authenticity, charisma, and intensity hit like a lightning bolt in a league that's long been starving for electricity. She doesn't wait for someone to hand her the mic. She grabs it, speaks her mind, and backs it up on the court. Wilson, in contrast, wants the attention without the scrutiny. She wants the legacy without building the connection. And now that Clark's outpacing her on every metric that matters, buzz, viewership, cultural relevance, Wilson is showing the cracks in her image. The tantrum wasn't just one incident. It's been building. Passive-aggressive likes, digs and interviews, coded comments about respect, and media bias. It's all part of a pattern that fans have noticed. And they're not siding with her. Because while Wilson is pouting, Clark is working. And while Wilson is playing the role of the overlooked veteran, Clark is selling out arenas night after night, even on the road. That's not media hype. That's real demand. The most frustrating part? Wilson could have been on the right side of this. She could have welcomed Clark into the league, embraced the moment, and used the spotlight to elevate herself, too. But instead, she chose resentment. She decided to treat Clark not as a teammate or an asset to the league, but as a rival. And now the optics are terrible. It's not just bad PR. It's bad business. Fans are walking into this league because of Caitlin Clark and walking right back out when they see how she's treated. The tone in the arena changes when she's booed on her own home court, when veteran players rough her up unnecessarily, when a league refuses to promote her properly or defend her from unfair criticism. And Wilson's silence on all of that, or worse, her veiled support of it through social media engagement, it's costing the league. We've seen the numbers. Without Clark in the spotlight, ratings dip, attendance drops, engagement flatlines. And still, players like Wilson are more concerned with preserving their place in the old hierarchy than ensuring the survival of the league itself. You want to talk about growth? Then talk about why the only time the WNBA trends on social media is when Clark is playing or when someone's going after her. That's not growth. That's dysfunction. The WNBA has marketed itself for years as a league full of leaders. But leadership isn't about stacking trophies. It's about elevating others when the spotlight turns to someone else. And on that front, Wilson has failed. Instead of asking herself why Clark is connecting with fans at a level she never reached, she's chosen to play the martyr. To act like she's owed something that she hasn't earned in the modern marketplace. The Saudi League's $50 million offer wasn't fluke. It was a wake-up call, a clear signal that global sports executives see Clark for what she is, a generational opportunity. The kind of athlete who can turn a league into an empire. And what was the WNBA's response? To say nothing. To let players like Wilson dominate the conversation with bitterness and passive aggression. Meanwhile, Clark just keeps showing up, playing hard, smiling in interviews, signing autographs, doing the work that Wilson won't do, connecting with the public. And now that the money's on the table, the contrast couldn't be starker. Wilson is fighting for relevance in a system that already moved on, a system she refused to evolve with, a A system that now sees Clark as the cornerstone, not her. And look, nobody's saying Aya Wilson hasn't earned her accolades. She's a phenomenal athlete, a proven champion. But that's not enough in this era. Sports are entertainment now. And the athletes who understand that, who lean into it, who build relationships with fans, who embrace the spotlight instead of flinching from it, they're the ones who thrive. Clark gets it. Wilson doesn't. And that's the whole difference. The WNBA has a choice to make. Keep letting resentment and old guard egos define the tone, or start building a product that reflects what fans actually want. Because right now, the league is squandering its biggest opportunity, and Wilson's public tantrum is the loudest reminder that the players themselves might be the ones holding it back. There's still time to course correct, to rally behind Clark, not as a threat, but as a bridge to new fans, new sponsors, and a sustainable future. But that starts with honesty. And the honest truth is this. Caitlin Clark is the reason the WNBA matters right now. Period. And every time someone like Aya Wilson tries to minimize that, the league inches closer to irrelevance. Fans want progress, not pettiness. They want players who grow the game, not gatekeep it. And if Wilson can't see that, she'll be remembered not as a leader, but as the one who couldn't handle the shift. Here's the uncomfortable reality the WNBA can't keep ignoring. Caitlin Clark is the main event, not a future star, not a co-star, not part of the ensemble. She's the reason the cameras are rolling. And the louder the resentment gets from players like Aya Wilson, the more obvious it becomes that the league is still stuck in a past that no longer works. Aya Wilson had the chance to lead this league into its next era. She had the resume, the rings, the media access, the marketing muscle behind her. But she never became the crossover name. She never reached the casual sports fan. She never filled arenas in opposing cities. She never pushed ticket prices into the stratosphere. Caitlin Clark did, all before her rookie season was over. And what's Wilson's response to that kind of unprecedented impact? Not collaboration, not humility, not even quiet reflection. No, she's throwing tantrums in public, undermining the one player who's actually pulling the league into global relevance. Let's be clear, this isn't about race. It's not about earning your place. It's about results. Clark has brought results the league has never seen. She's generated TV ratings, merchandise sales, social media engagement, sponsorships, and international buzz at levels the WNBA has never touched. And she did it while taking elbows, slander, and league silence in return. So when Wilson openly pouts over a $50 million offer Clark received from the Saudi League, an offer that represents the global sports world finally recognizing what the WNBA never fully did, it reads as petty. It reads as insecure. And more than anything, it reads as desperate. What exactly did Wilson expect? For the market to ignore Clark's cultural dominance and default back to the old pecking order? For the league to pretend the person who draws record-breaking crowds shouldn't be the one getting record-breaking offers? No one's saying Wilson doesn't deserve respect for what she's accomplished. But respect doesn't automatically translate to value, especially when a marketplace has already spoken. This isn't about who's better on the court. It's about who sells the league, who makes people care, and whether Wilson likes it or not, that is Caitlin Clark. The fact that Wilson and others in the league are more concerned with Clark's shine than the league's future is deeply telling. It exposes a league culture that still operates under the belief that seniority equals entitlement. That if you've been around long enough, you deserve the spotlight, even if the numbers say otherwise. That mindset is toxic. It's the same mindset that leads to players minimizing Clark's success. It's the same attitude that led to her being physically targeted on the court without consequence. It's the same energy that fuels the passive-aggressive commentary, the endless social media subtweets, and the thinly veiled jabs in press conferences. And it's pushing fans away. Fans aren't blind. They see how the league treats its most valuable player. They see the tension. They hear the bitterness. And they're getting fed up with it. They didn't show up to watch a locker room feud. They showed up to watch history being made. But instead of building that moment, the WNBA has let jealousy tear it apart. Wilson has made herself the face of that jealousy. She's not just angry, she's loudly angry. And instead of elevating the game with her voice, she's dragging it down with entitlement. You can't complain about being underpaid when someone else is generating 10 times the revenue. You can't argue for equal endorsement deals when the only jerseys selling out belong to Clark. You can't call for fairness when you're actively sabotaging the one person bringing real money, viewership, and international attention to your sport. Wilson's tantrum over Clark's $50 million offer wasn't a call for equity. It was a tantrum about being passed by. And that's the part the league refuses to confront. Because if they admit Clark is the face now, they also have to admit that Wilson was never able to become it. Not for lack of talent, but because the game changed and she didn't. Clark understands modern sports better than anyone else in the league. She knows it's about connection. She knows it's about relatability. She knows it's about giving the fans something to feel. And she's been doing that nonstop, while enduring targeted fouls, media silence, and internal hostility. And still, she shows up. Still, she produces. Still, she smiles. Still, she takes interviews, signs autographs, and plays through it all. Meanwhile, Wilson is throwing shade on social media and wondering why she's not the one cashing the international checks. The WNBA needs to have an honest conversation with itself, and fast. Do they want to keep protecting players who believe tenure is more important than traction? Or do they want to build around the player who's actually bringing them fans, money, and relevance? Because the truth is, if Caitlin Clark takes that $50 million deal and walks away from this league, it won't just be a loss, it will be a collapse. The network deals built on her name will evaporate. The sponsorships will cool. The new fans will stop watching. And the players who thought they were protecting their turf will be left guarding an empty arena. Wilson, especially, should be careful. She's alienating the very audience that Clark created. Instead of stepping into that expanding spotlight, she's sneering at it. And that attitude, it doesn't sell. It doesn't inspire. It doesn't make people care. Clark is giving the league its shot at survival. And Wilson, with every passive dig and every defensive outburst, is trying to pull it back into obscurity. The league needs stars who lift each other, not ones who resent the spotlight landing on someone else. Clark isn't going anywhere. Her influence is only growing. Her market value is undeniable. And the league's future is tied directly to how it chooses to handle her and the players who can't stand seeing her win. If Wilson really wants to lead, then she needs to evolve. Fast. If not, she won't just be watching Clark get the deals. She'll be watching her take the lead with her. If you're watching all this unfold and you're wondering how long the league can keep getting in its own way, like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more no-fluff breakdowns. Is Aya Wilson helping or hurting the WNBA right now? Can the league move forward while stuck in the past? This isn't just about a paycheck. This is about who builds the future and who hold it back. And right now, only one of them is doing the work.